I still remember the silence more than the fight. There was no shouting that night, no broken plates, no slammed doors. Just silence. A thick, heavy silence wrapped around me the moment I stepped into my own house and felt something I had never felt there before and wanted. People say you can feel betrayal before you see it. That night, I finally understood what they meant. The lights were on, too bright for how late it was. My husband's shoes were by the door, placed neatly like always. And then I saw my sister's purse sitting on the couch. My feet stopped moving, my breath caught in my throat, my heart beating so loud it felt like it might expose me. I told myself there had to be an explanation. There always is until there isn't. I didn't want to look down the hallway because deep inside I already knew. The house felt different. Not warm, not safe. It felt like I had walked into a place where I no longer belonged. Every step forward felt heavy, like my body was begging me to turn around. They say betrayal hurts most when it comes from the people who know your heart, the ones who know your fears, your weaknesses, the ones who promised to protect you. That night, two people who knew me better than anyone else broke me without saying a single word. I stood there, frozen, realizing something had shifted forever. Even if I walked out and pretended I never saw that purse, nothing would ever feel the same again. But this story is not just about pain. It's about what happens after the pain. Because what my sister and my husband did that night, they thought would destroy me, they never imagined how it would end. Growing up, my sister and I were close. Not perfect, not the kind of sisters who shared clothes or secrets every day, but close enough that if the world fell apart, I believed she would stand beside me. I trusted her with my life. She was always the loud one, the charming one, the kind of person who walked into a room and somehow pulled all the air toward herself. People laughed louder around her, listened harder. I was different, quieter, the one who watched before speaking, the one who remembered details no one else noticed. And somehow that balance worked. She shamed. I stayed steady. When I met my husband, I truly believed I had found my safe place. He was flashy. He was perfect. But he was kinder, at least he seemed that way. He made me laugh on days I felt invisible. He made promises that sounded sincere. He looked at me like I was enough. For the first time I felt chosen. My sister loved him too, or so I thought. She smiled a little too brightly when he walked into the room. She called him brother in that playful way that made everyone laugh. She hugged him a little longer than necessary sometimes, her hand resting on his arm when she talked. Small things. I noticed them, but I ignored them. Because who suspects their own sister? Who questions the people they love the most? We were family. That word protected them. That word silenced my doubts. We shared holidays around the same table, birthdays with forced smiles and real laughter mixed together, late-night talks where we spoke about dreams, regrets, and everything we wanted from life. I trusted them both completely without hesitation. I believed love meant loyalty. I believed blood meant boundaries. I believed marriage meant protection. That belief blind, beautiful trust was my biggest mistake. Looking back now, the signs were everywhere. Not hidden, not subtle, just waiting for me to be brave enough to see them. But when you love someone, you don't look for the truth. You look for reasons to protect the lie. My husband started coming home late. Not once or twice often. Head, walk in tired, distracted, phone face down on the table. When I asked how his day was, his answers were shorter than they used to be. My sister started calling more, checking in, asking questions she had never cared about before. What are you doing tonight? Is your husband home yet? He said it was work, deadlines, stress, extra hours. She said she just missed me, said she wanted us to be closer. The family should talk more. And I believed them. Because believing was easier than facing what my instincts were whispering. Sometimes I'd walk into a room and their conversation would suddenly stop, like someone had pressed pause. They'd look at me, then at each other. Awkward smiles. Quick excuses. Oh, we were just talking about nothing. Nothing felt so heavy. I noticed The way he avoided my eyes after those moments, the way she left too quickly, too loudly, like she was covering something up, the way the air between them felt charged, alive. I told myself I was overthinking, that I was tired, that stress was making me imagine things. I didn't want to be the jealous wife, the suspicious sister. I stayed quiet. I smiled. I swallowed the unease sitting in my chest. Love makes you blind. Trust makes you silent. And silence is where betrayal grows. That night, the night with the purse on the couch, I walked down the hallway slowly. So slowly it felt like time was stretching just to punish me. Each step felt heavier than the last, like my body already knew what my heart was trying to deny. The walls felt closer. The air felt thick. Every sound made breathing. The floor beneath my feet felt too loud. Their bedroom door was half open. I didn't hear voices. No laughter. No whispers. I didn't need to. Something inside me went completely still. I pushed the door, and there they were. Not touching. Not speaking. No dramatic scene. But they were sitting close. Too close. Close enough that the truth screamed louder than words ever could. My sister looked at me like a child caught stealing. Eyes wide. Frozen. Guilty. My husband couldn't even look me in the eye. His shoulders slumped. His face was pale, like a man who had already lost everything and knew it. In that moment, something inside me broke clean in half, quietly. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't ask for explanations or apologies. I just asked one question: how long? The room went silent, not an ordinary silence, a guilty silence, the kind that answers you before anyone speaks. They tried to explain. Words spilled out like excuses, rehearsed 100 times in secret. Clumsy, desperate, insulting. It just happened. We didn't mean to hurt you. You're overacting. Overacting to my own sister, stealing my husband. Two people I trusted chose each other over me. 2 months of lies wrapped in smiles. The truth came out in pieces, broken and ugly. They admitted it had been going on for months. Months of secret messages, months of stolen moments, months of shared meals where they sat across from me and asked about my day. My sister said she loathed him, like a confession that deserved understanding. My husband said he was confused, like confusion could erase betrayal. Confused enough to lie, confused enough to choose her, confused enough to destroy me. I stood there, numb. That night, I packed a bag, not everything, just enough to take with me. I walked out of my own home with shaking hands and an empty chest, not because I was weak, but because staying would have broken me beyond repair. I didn't look back. Somewhere between their excuses and their silence, something inside me changed. The woman who trusted without question was gone. I didn't rush. I didn't read. I watched. I listened. From the outside, I probably looked defeated. Quite small. Like someone who had lost everything. They thought I was broken. They thought I was weak. That was their biggest mistake. My sister moved into my house, the walls that carried my laughter and memories. My husband filed for divorce quickly, eager to erase guilt by moving forward fast. They didn't hide. They didn't feel shame. They posted smiling photos, vacation pictures, dinner dates, happy captions about new beginnings and true love. Every time I saw one, I felt not rage, but focus. I knew something they didn't. Every secret, every weakness, every lie they told the world and each other. They believed the story was over, that I was just the said chapter they had moved past. I stayed quiet. I stayed patient, because sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is wait. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. The best revenge is patience. While they were busy living their happy ending, I focused on myself. I healed in silence, rebuilt my confidence piece by piece, and learned to stand alone without apologizing. Quietly, carefully, I gathered the truth. Not recklessly, not emotionally, but legally. Financial records that told a different story, messages they thought were deleted, promises broken and rewritten on paper, signed with lies. Every detail mattered. Every timestamp, every transaction. I didn't want to hurt them physically. I didn't want chows. I wanted clarity. I wanted exposure. Under phase. Screaming ends. But truth lingers. Truth follows you into courtrooms, conversations, and the way people look at you when they finally understand who you really are. I stayed calm. I stayed precise. I had learned something powerful. Truth hurts far more than anger ever could. The day came when they least expected it. A family gathering made for laughter and comfort. Everyone was there. They thought it was safe. I watched them, my sister laughing too loudly, my husband standing tall, confident, acting like the past had been erased. They didn't see fear. They didn't see regret. They saw victory. I stood up slowly, calmly. The room quieted because something in my posture said this mattered. My voice didn't shake. I told my story from the beginning, not with emotion, but with truth. I spoke about the lies, the months of betrayal, the smiles worn while destroying me behind closed doors. Then I showed proof, messages, dates, and financial records. I let the facts speak for themselves. No shouting, no insults, just evidence. The room went silent. My sister's face drained of color, confidence collapsing. My husband couldn't escape the truth anymore. Eyes turned, whispers started. That was the exact second they realized something they never thought possible. They underestimated me. People talk. They always do. When the truth finally breaks, it doesn't whisper, it travels. What I said that day did stay in that room. It moved through phone calls, messages, and quiet conversations where people connected the dots. Friends pulled away. Invitations stopped coming. Smiles became forced. Support vanished. Their perfect love story collapsed under the weight of reality. A story built on betrayal cannot survive daylight. They tried to defend themselves, to rewrite the narrative, but once truth settles in people's minds, there's no editing it away. They didn't lose me that day. That loss had already happened. What they lost was far greater: respect, trust, reputation, the things you don't notice until they're gone. And me, I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile in victory. I felt something better. I felt free. Free from lies. Free from pretending. Free from carrying the weight of their choices. For the first time in a long time, I could finally breathe. I didn't win because they suffered. I won because I survived. I moved on, not immediately, not without struggle, but I rebuilt my life piece by piece. A life where trust is earned, boundaries are respected, and love doesn't come with betrayal hidden underneath. I learned that betrayal says far more about the person who betrays than it ever does about the one betrayed. It's not a weakness. It's their character on full display. I stopped being the quiet one, the one who swallowed doubts and silenced instincts. I stopped shrinking to fit into the shadows of other people's lies. I became bold. I became unapologetic. I became stronger than they ever imagined. And every step I took away from the past, every decision I made for myself was a reminder. I am not defined by their betrayal. I am defined by how I rise after it. If you've been betrayed, hear this. You don't need revenge fueled by anger. You don't need to scream. You don't need to destroy what they love. What you need is truth, patience, and self-respect. The people who hurt you expect you to break, to crumble, to stay silent and small. They never expect you to rise. And sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't confrontation, it's becoming someone they can never hurt again. Betrayal ends relationships, yes, but it can also begin your strength, your power, your freedom. And that is the lesson they never saw coming.